Hi, I'm Reverend Jenny. I'm the rector here at Grace Church in Haddonfield, and today I am going to do two things at once. I'm going to try something that's new to me for the first time, even as I teach you how to do that. How does that sound? Believe it or not, I have been ordained close to 20 years. I was baptized when I was 12, so I will not do the math for you how long I've been a Christian, but in all that time, in all the churches that I have lived in, served in, grew up in, even served as a priest in, I have never made my own Ash Wednesday ashes. In the churches where I've served before Grace Church, the Altar Guild actually purchased ashes. I know all kinds of tips about how to put them best on foreheads and how to take them off thumbs, but how to actually physically make my own, I've never done that before. And as I wanted to teach folks from Grace how to make your own ashes, since this year we'll be doing our worship remotely, you'll have an opportunity to use ashes that you make at home in the service, and I'll say more about that in a bit. I thought, well, let me show you how to make ashes. And then I thought, I don't know how to make ashes. So I watched friends' videos and I figured out maybe how to do it. And I thought, what better way than to experience this along with you who may also be making your own ashes for the first time. Here at Grace Church, there's been a habit of, a ritual of actually taking palms from previous Palm Sundays and burning them to make the ashes for Ash Wednesday, which is really a beautiful symbol because it's a reminder to us that the things in life that can be most victorious and celebratory, like the palms we even wave in a celebratory Palm Sunday procession celebrating Jesus coming in Jerusalem in triumph, can, just like in Holy Week as it turns to the cross, those things that we celebrate in life are transient and they become the ashes of the next year when we remember that we are dependent on God, that our lives are passing and fleeting, that we ourselves are mortal, and it's God's love that's eternal and lasting. This year we're going to especially draw on that image because rather than impose ashes on foreheads in the shape of a cross, which we do to remember our baptism, we're going to be digging into an older practice around ashes. You can find more about that in an article that we've linked on our website and in our Grace Notes newsletter. And the words of the service on Ash Wednesday themselves, when we say, remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Those words actually come from our burial office. And the ashes in that way remind us of our mortality. And they tie us to that burial office where we scatter ashes on the casket or on the ground, which is why I'm here in our memorial garden as we prepare to make ashes for use on Ash Wednesday. So I hope that you will maybe think about making some ashes so when you are online worshiping with us on Ash Wednesday, you have some ashes that you can either sprinkle on yourself or perhaps even sprinkle on the earth to remind you of the death that is always before you, so you can even more prepare to remember the love of God that is lasting through all things. We are dependent on God. God's love is eternal. Our lives are limited and mortal, and yet in Jesus, we are freed to live in ways that are full and lasting. And we believe that the fullness of resurrection life goes with us, not only in this life, but on into eternity. Do that by starting to observe a Holy Lent through our ashes this year. So what I have here is an old palm. This was one that had been shaped into a cross. I wasn't up for burning crosses here in the Grace churchyard. I went ahead and unrolled it as a palm. You might find an old palm you have from a past year. If you don't have any palms, that's okay. These were blessed as sacred reminders of God's love, but remember, all of creation is sacred. So you might find something in your garden, a palm branch, a stick, some leaves, something that you can burn to make the ashes that you symbolically use at Ash Wednesday. And I've just got here a glass bowl from my kitchen. I could have gotten the hibachi we use for our Easter Vigil fire, but you likely will be using something simple at home too, so I thought I'd give it a try. And I'm just going to see, this one is so dry, we'll see how it works, but I understand that sometimes they burn in spurts. So we'll see if we can get this palm burning and just let the ashes fall into the bowl. And remember, you're only just going to need a little bit for that symbolic sprinkling or sprinkling onto the earth. So you with me? Do you have a palm? Do you have something to light it with? Do you have something fire resistant to catch your ashes in? Okay, let's hope this works. If I can get it to light here. See? Don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to admit things that you don't know or are new to you. That's part of embracing our mortal lives, but it's God's strength that carries us even in times that are unfamiliar and strange. When we don't have a whole lot of confidence in ourselves, we can have confidence in God. I think I just put out my own fire. And now I'm going to take those strains and I'm going to smush them with my finger. They almost feel like feathers. And you can see that I already have, just from that little bit that burnt, some ashes that when we get to Ash Wednesday, I could put on my own head, sprinkle. If you are living at home with other people, you can put it on their heads, or like I said, put it into the earth, even a plant in your home if you can't go outside. I'm going to make some more. Let's see how this works. I would say don't do it in as a windy a spot as I'm in. I'm having a hard time getting my lighter to light and stay lit. Maybe out of fluid too. Well, might go in and get more matches. But in the meantime, I hope that helps you try to make your own ashes at home.